we are going to continue where we left off, which was our 11:30 a.m. item 6.6, consideration of informational presentation on the Eli Stage Stop and Country Museum. And this is Supervisor Pyska's item.
I'll turn my microphone on. Yes. Well, I appreciate Dr. Parker reaching out and requesting this presentation. The Eli is it's a really important place for all of us, so I think this is going to be a wonderful presentation. And I don't know if any of my colleagues have been there recently, but a lot's been going on. So thank you, Dr. Parker, for being here, and I'll turn it over to you.
All right. I want to. Am I on? Okay. I want to begin by giving the Historical Society's appreciation to all of you for helping to run this county as best as it can be run. You guys are up here all the time dealing with all these problems and trying to solve as many as you can, and we're all appreciative of that, and I just wanted to pass that along from the Lake County Historical Society. I'm the president of the Historical Society, and I know a lot of you have been out to the Eli Museum, and I just wanted to give you an update on what's going on out there. What is this? Oh, that's not what I wanted. I want to... That? No. Oh, that's exciting. How about if I just use the mouse? Yeah, here we go. This, if you haven't been out there, that's where it is. That's Soda Bay Road and Highway 29. Oops. Where am I going?
Here comes Sam.
Oh, come on.
Might want to unclick what the mouse clicked.
Yeah. It's not going.
Is it because the mouse clicked? There.
There we go.
You gonna do it?
Ooh. Here we go.
Hey.
That's what it was.
Okay.
So it's the opposite of what you think.
Okay. I'm gonna go forward with the backwards button.
Exactly.
I got it.
It's intuitive.
Anyways, yeah, the building used to be down there where the little yellow star is, where basically 4 different wagon roads came together. Why? Why was this building preserved? Well, in 2002, Caltrans was going to bulldoze it for the new highway work going through there. They're planning on building a highway through there eventually. They did their own historic resource evaluation and said, meh, this is not significant, we're going to tear it down. The community, however, decided, yeah, this is significant. And the previous owner, the Kettenhoffens, donated $100,000. The current owner, Extoffer, donated the 5 acres. And the county provided the funds for moving and restoring this stage stop. But what you see there is not what the original building looked like, because it has a lot of additions. The original building was built in the 1860s, and as it was used by various people and families, it got expanded and things were added on. In order to move this building, it had to be brought back to what its original 1860 configuration was. And it was put on wheels, hauled across the highway, across the valley. It had to cross 2 creeks to get up to where it is now. In 2011, the opening ceremony was held, and the Lake County Historical Society stepped up and agreed to operate the museum for the county. The place used to be called the Lost Springs Ranch. Mary and James Jameson and their 4 children moved into the valley, called it home for 14 years. It's likely that he built this house in the 1860s. The whole structure is square nails, and it served as their house, a horse changing station. If you come out of Lower Lake and you go up the hill towards Kelseyville, by the time 6 horses get up that hill pulling a stagecoach, they're beat. They're worn out. They need to be replaced. So this place the Jameson place just happened to be at the top of that hill and a good place to change the horses. It was also kind of a public stopover place, and he raised stock and farmed. This is a map that actually shows the 1800s roads through the area from Lower Lake to Kelseyville and Lakeport, and the blue line goes down to the hot springs resorts. And the Jameson place is kind of at a strategic spot. So in the 1860s, most of Lake County was cattle ranching. And every year, ranchers from all over the lake would herd their cattle to the Jameson place, where he had large stock pens, and they'd keep the cattle there until the once-a-year cattle drive over Mount St. Helena to Calistoga. Calistoga was the railhead. The cattle would be loaded onto cars there, taken down to Napa, ferried across the bay to San Francisco to the slaughterhouses. Jameson sold his ranch and moved to Kelseyville. He was elected county supervisor for 2 terms. He's buried over there in the Kelseyville Cemetery next to his wife. Benjamin Eli received a patent for the 120 acres, including the Lost Springs Ranch and the old Jameson place. Benjamin Eli had a huge ranch down in the valley. And so he didn't need this land up here. He bought it and had his daughter, Sally Ann, and her husband, James McClure, to run it. So they came up. Sally Ann ran the stage stop. In fact, most stage stops in Lake County were run by women. The men were out herding the cattle, doing whatever they were doing in the field. The women kept the horses fresh, kept food on the stove, and took care of people that had to stay overnight, waiting for the next stage the next day. As soon as we took over operation of this museum, none of the Historical Society members had ever run a museum, so it was a learning curve, a big one. But we started out right off the bat. We needed a barn. We had a lot of antique equipment that needed some protection, so we started building a barn immediately, and that became our first big project. Now, every month, we have the Fiddler's Jam in the wintertime in that barn, and we do lectures and displays, that sort of thing. The house itself, we started furnishing it to look like it might have looked back in the 1860s or 70s. We changed the inside decor during the different holidays, and it's kind of a fun thing to go and visit. Downstairs, it's really not, it's a house. It's not really meant for museum displays. It's a house. Upstairs, we use those rooms upstairs for offices and historical society functions. Outdoors, we have a huge collection of wagons and tractors and farm equipment, and we put them together in a way that tell a story of Lake County's economic development over the years. A lot of projects. This is a project that we had done last year before last, actually. Paul Marchand and the Highland Springs Equestrian Center took on the restoration of this Vic Ferrin freight wagon. Vic Ferrin was a blacksmith in Lakeport, built this wagon in 1908, and it hauled freight all over Lake County roads until it had an accident, which kind of broke the circle iron in front of the front part of the wagon, and then it was just kind of sat and came, went into disrepair, actually. It was brought back to life and returned to the Eli Museum, and in 2023, we actually ran the wagon in the Pear Festival. We'll be running the wagon again in the Pear Festival at the end of this month. The other project we just finished, the 1890s Kelseyville Jail was being vandalized in a park in Kelseyville, and we agreed to move it and restore it. And it was a lot of volunteer labor And finally, we completed it on April 21st, restored, it was, I mean, literally the bottom 3 feet of it had rotted away. So we brought what we could, placed it on a new foundation, and restored it back to what it looked like originally. And then we had a big ribbon cutting ceremony. Current and proposed projects. Actually, we finished this barn, another barn, and the second barn we used to store tractors and wagons, and a part of the barn is a blacksmith shop. And it took us several years in fundraising to get all of the funds necessary to get the blacksmith shop together, but on May 19th, the Chamber of Commerce officially opened the blacksmith shop with a ribbon cutting ceremony. So if you're out at the Eli Museum the first Sunday of every month, you can watch the blacksmith at work. You know, the county has 3 county-run, county-funded museums. You can't see a blacksmith shop work at any of those. You probably can't get a hayride at any of those either. This museum is all volunteer-run, completely run on donations. And this is our current proposed project. We have a lady that has agreed to donate 18 fully restored historic wagons. This particular one is, this one cost $20,000 to restore. It's called an omnibus. It was used to transport wives from the Presidio in San Francisco to downtown for shopping in the 1800s and then back to the Presidio. Just amazing. 18 completely restored horse-drawn wagons and buggies. But in order for us to get this donation, we have to build a structure to display and protect them. And we started everything. We got a GoFundMe page going. We'd love to use some of the county's TOT funds for this project. But this is just a look at some of those wagons that will be donated to the Historical Society to stay in Lake County as an educational program. I mean, it's just amazing. That's actually an original rural route mail delivery wagon, which looked like this. So we got a 5-year build-out plan and all kinds of existing facilities that we already have there. We're working with the County Rockhound Group to develop a mining display. We've already got a mine cart from Sulphur Bank Mine, and we just encourage education, preservation. The museum is open every weekend. We have all kinds of special activities going on, school groups. Before COVID, we were getting 200 school kids from local Lake County schools every year. And they're ready to start up again now that COVID's kind of behind us. And the kids would come out and we'd set up stations so they'd go around and learn different aspects of Lake County history during their day at the Eli Museum. Even panning for gold and washing the clothes. And the educational programs are a lot of fun, but we have a lot of outside community groups that use the facility. We had victim fundraising for fire victims, Women of Agriculture, Retired Teachers Association, Boy Scouts, 4-H, Wine Grape Association, Master Gardeners, Rotary. It's become a focal point for a lot of community organizations that want to do things for the community and need a place to meet, gather, and enjoy their company. We even had a big tractor show there one day. Lots of fun. You can go on a hayride there, first Sunday of every month. Come on by. In fact, I think Bill right there with his hand up, he'll drive the tractor. Or you can have a wedding or a prom. My dad's memorial celebration we had there. And and TV8 even decided to film a suspense movie there. We have a staff of more than 20 that keep this place running and open for the public. That staff puts in about 3,000 hours a year, which is the equivalent of $120,000 worth of volunteer time to keep this museum open. And in their spare time, they like to have parties. We love to go to the parades. When we have enough volunteers to pull it off, we'll take the stagecoach to the parades or the new wagon that we got restored. We actually started an excavation across the highway where the original building was, so that we can give a little more meat on the bones. I mean, you got a building, but you don't know what went on in that building. And the way you learn about what went on in that building is by finding out the stuff that was around the outside of the building that the people left behind. So that's what we're doing, cataloging that kind of stuff. This museum every year gets at least 3,000 visitors representing 13 countries, 34 states, and 142 California cities. It's definitely a gem in Lake County. Every Sunday, 11 to 3, come on by. We promise we won't shoot you. The Fiddler's Jam, we have a lot of free monthly events. The Fiddler's Jam is open to anybody who wants to come by first Sunday of every month. They play from noon until 2. We have a barbecue going on, and family friendly. It's a blast. Right now, our big thing is getting that building built so we can take that donation of carriages and wagons. And the total cost of the structure will be about $400,000. The Historical Society is going to kick in $130,000 of that, which leaves $270,000 to complete the project. And we've already contacted local Lake County construction, excavation, and plumbing contractors to build this thing so that we can house and display these 1800s carriages and wagons so the public can get a better sense of Lake County history. I mean, I go to museums. When I was in school and took history classes, I hated it. You had to memorize all these names and places and spit them back on a test, or whatever, and it was like, how boring. I don't want to do that. But if you go to a museum and you can experience history firsthand, that's a totally different thing than looking at a static display. I mean, if you can walk into a blacksmith shop and hear the clang and smell the smoke from the forge, if you can watch the horses pulling the wagon around, I mean, to me, that's learning about history, So this is just kind of an update, what we're doing. The county maintains the building for us, and we do the rest, and we appreciate all the work the county's done to help keep this going. And the one thing that I'd really be interested in is if we could maybe do a display up at the Chambers Visitor Center, and maybe even a display here in the hallway that might help us get to that $270,000 we need so we can build that building and keep those wagons here. And it's been years since I've asked for TOT money. Literally, 1982, 1983 is the last time I asked for TOT funds for a Lake County project. I think I'm due. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, you guys know best, but if you haven't been out there, come on out. We're going to start doing a every other month lecture series and on Lake County history, and lots of fun. I know most of you have been out there already. Thank you for your support, and thanks for coming out. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for your presentation, Supervisor Pyska.
Yeah, thank you for reaching out to do this presentation. I do like going out there with my family. I love the Holiday Fiddler Jam. That's my favorite of the year. And I didn't know that this was coming with an ask, so I think that we'll be talking. But I'm just curious if the Historical Society has any plans to expand the history, maybe pre-first contact, and incorporating some of the other rich history that we have. in the
Native
county.
American prehistory?
Correct.
No, we don't. We do need in this county a Native American cultural museum that presents that aspect of Lake County. Because this is it's just basically a historic spot with historic stuff, we are confining our historical approach here from 1860 to about 1930. And we don't really accept anything past 1930, and we don't really display anything before 1860. But we really desperately need a cultural museum to focus on Lake County's Native American heritage. I mean, we got 20,000 years or more of Native American heritage that you really can't learn about. There's no place to go and learn about. I remember several years ago there was some discussion that the state might build a new state Native American museum, and they were looking at Anderson Marsh and the social services offices over there as a possibility, but then somebody else came along and pushed some buttons and it went somewhere else. So I don't know, but that's still probably the best place in the county for a Native American cultural museum, and the facility is already there. But that's out of my hands. Yeah.
Okay, well, it sounds like we're going to have some more conversation.
Yes, absolutely. We'd love to get it done. Thank you all.
Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I just noticed something. The Confederate soldier. Yeah. Is that are they honoring the Confederate soldier that killed Captain Lyon or General Lyon?
Oh, yeah, probably was, yeah. No, that's actually one of our board members who likes to dress up and walk in the parade, so, yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know who General Lyon is, he was Captain Lyon, so I just...
Captain Lyons, right, came up and basically took care of Bloody Island, Badonapati, and and then wasn't satisfied, so he went over to the Russian River and took care of another village, and just a mess. But that's all part of Lake County history that needs a place to be told. I mean, most people aren't even aware of the massacre that took place in 1838 when Vallejo came up with 80 people and slaughtered the village of Camdot, which is Buckingham Island, Anderson Island. There was a huge village there. And he came up and he wanted to take these people down to help him harvest his grain crop, and they said no. And they ended up in the dance house, and they lit the dance house on fire. And the folks at Elim chased him and his people out of Lake County, and that's when Vallejo decided, I don't really want this area. I think I'll sell off my holdings up there to Stone and Kelsey. And we know how that turned out. So yeah, there's a whole section of history here that needs to be told, that needs to be available, in addition to the triumphs of the past 20,000 years of culture here in Lake County. I mean, these people lived through two global warming episodes, one global warming episode, 2 periods of overpopulation, had to deal with unequal distribution of food resources, and just, it's incredible. I mean, the amount of knowledge and information within the Native American community and within the cultural sites that are left behind is phenomenal. And we can learn a lot from the 20,000 years of experience that has gone before us here. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? So I know that you had a couple of asks up on your last page, and Supervisor Pyska alluded to that. I think one is something that typically staff is in charge of deciding what can and cannot be displayed in the lobby. Obviously, if it's something that needs to be brought to us, you can work with staff, and if it comes back for a decision, obviously we'll deal with that then. But the chamber's on its own. We can't tell the chamber what to put in their own building, but reach out to the interim, I want to say CEO, Greg Folsom.
Right.
I'm sure he'd be happy to discuss with you what's possible over there. The rest, I think we'll have to have deeper discussions before saying where that will go. But it's important to acknowledge, it's important to remember, and it's even more important to learn from our history, whether it's our recent history or our ancient history that we have all around us, and history surrounds us at all times. So appreciate your work and how you are involved in keeping the history alive in Lake County, and appreciate your presentation today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead and open it up for public comment. Anyone wish to speak on this item in this presentation? I see no hands up in the Zoom room and no one moving in the chamber. Again, appreciate it. And please have those conversations with CAO Parker about what's possible in the lobby, and we'll see where that goes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.